Hey, let's go cook up some fun in the kitchen with the use of a couple of flashes and a leaky faucet.
AdoramaTV presents You Keep Shooting with Bryan Peterson, where you'll learn unique and creative techniques that will elevate your photography skills. Here's your host, Bryan Peterson.
Customer service was and still is king at Adorama, where I buy all of my photographic equipment. Hey, have you been looking for a darn good reason to go out and buy yourself a macro lens? Or perhaps another reason to go out and buy yourself an extra flash, or maybe two flashes because you don't have any? Well, I've got a photographic tip today that I guarantee you is either going to make you go out and buy some new equipment or dust off that seldom used macro lens that you bought a couple of years ago, as well as blow the dust off your flash or flashes that you seldom use other than the opportunity to shoot at a birthday party or a wedding. What I've cooked up here in the kitchen, I really believe, is going to cause you to do just that. Buy equipment or dust off what you currently have. Hi, I'm Bryan Peterson, and you're watching AdoramaTV. Now, if you don't know by now, you're going to know right now that when it comes to buying equipment, nobody has better service and better prices than my friends at Adorama. And I'm sure you probably know that, but if you don't, check it out and find out for yourself. We're here in my studio in Chicago, which is right next to the elevated subway. So that background noise you might be hearing about now is in fact the train going by, and all my windows are open up. So as they go by, we make a point here to wave at the people on the train. And sure enough, sometimes they wave back. But more importantly about this tip, I've got here a bowl of water, elevated, sitting on top of an upside down bowl in a rather deep sink. In addition, underneath this glass bowl is one of my brightly colored shirts I used to wear, but I don't wear these shirts anymore. I found a better use for them to be used in backgrounds. So we've got a slow drip coming out of the faucet here into this bowl of water. I've got two flashes coming in at 45-degree angles. Both of these flashes have been set to manual exposure mode. This is the Nikon SB900, best flash ever made. Again, available at Adorama at a price under 500 bucks if you can find them. And I say if you can find them because they've since been replaced by the Nikon SB910, also around the $500 price range. But check their used department. You might be able to find a couple of used ones up there. But incredible flash, can't go anywhere without mine. And on the back of my flash, I've told the flash what aperture I'm going to use because of depth of field concerns, of which there are. In this case, very narrow. I'm going to be using the 105 macro lens, so I need depth of field. I've told each flash I'm at f/16. I've also zoomed the flash head to 120 to narrow the beam of the flash to this very concentrated area where the drop is going to be coming into the water, the bowl, I should say. Now, interestingly enough, when it comes to using flash, I'm always using my flashes in manual. Forget TTL, I don't like it. That's personal opinion. Now that they're in manual, I'm also going to set my camera, as always, in manual exposure mode too. I set the aperture for 16, and in this case, I'm going to kill the ambient light because the flash is going to be the sole primary light source. Not a flash fill, but 100% light of this drop of water on the bowl of water. Moses, that's my little dog who I'm watching actually for my daughter. Moses, we're doing a photo tip. Get over here right now. Come on, knock it off. Okay, therefore, continue on. Yes, let's do that. We are going to deliberately set the shutter speed of the camera at a very fast speed, in this case a 200th of a second, which I will stress has nothing to do with freezing the drop as it hits the surface of the water of this bowl of water in the sink. It has everything to do with killing ambient light, but it has nothing to do with freezing action, which is what we're going to end up doing. I want to stress the freezing action in this photograph is 100% the result of the light being emitted by the strobes, the flash duration as it's called. Even though my shutter speed is at a 200th of a second, which is well within the what we call flash shutter speed synchronization range, it's on the high end, the flashes this close, powered down, I should mention that too, at a 1/32nd power because the distance is so close. At a 1/32nd power, when that flash fires, kaboom, the duration of the flash, again, keep in mind, this is all going to happen within that 200th of a second exposure of the shutter speed. The flashes are actually, poof, firing off upwards of a 10,000th of a second. So realistically, that drop of water as it hits the surface is being frozen in midair by a 10,000th of a second flash exposure, not a 200th of a second on the camera. So let's give this a try. Get in here, and the biggest challenge you're going to face is not the exposure itself, but it's finding your focus point. And I've got it right there, and here we go. One. Try another one. I'm shooting in anticipation of the drop coming up as it hits the surface. In addition, I wanted to call your attention to Nikon's commander mode, which is what's responsible for these flashes firing remotely. I put my little pop-up flash, which is here built into the camera, I turn that on, and that subsequently, when it's set to commander mode, allows me to remotely fire these two flashes on both sides of me. And this does take practice, folks, I can promise you that. I've done this before, and I can promise you the first time, I think I must have shot 200 shots before I found a good one. Well, through the magic of video, let's take a look at the roughly 32 shots I took. And of those 32, I've got 3 here to share with you. The first one is perfect. The second one, I'm a little late. And the third one, I was a little too soon. This is trial and error stuff, but it's something you can do, particularly on those days, perhaps when you've got nothing else to do. Not something you do necessarily when you're bored, but definitely something you will do if you're looking for any excuse at all to bring out your flashes and try something new, as well as bring out your macro lens. And in conjunction with the flash, try something new. Hey, something we've just cooked up here in the kitchen on an overcast, cold day here in Chicago. And until next time, this is Bryan Peterson saying, you keep shooting.
For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. Place your order by 8 p.m. and it ships the same day. Plus, next time you're in New York City, be sure to visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.